It looks like I'm in a Euphoria episode. What is up, guys? Today we're talking Euphoria. I'm going to try my best not to spoil it, but I can't guarantee anything. But I am going to be reviewing season 2 so far. And you've read the title correctly. I've given up, and yet we're only on episode 4 of Euphoria season 2. I'm going to review it. I want to understand that this is a subjective point of view. I know a lot of you guys are fans of Euphoria. I know this show is insanely popular. And trust me, I enjoyed this show. But I'm officially giving up. I'm moving away. I'm not gonna talk about Euphoria. I'm not gonna watch Euphoria anymore because I've given up, and I'm gonna make this video. Now, I did mention it in my live stream. I did review it quickly, but let me go more in depth as to why I'm not liking Euphoria right now. To give you some context, I'm actually a fan of season 1. I thought season 1 was pretty good. I think it was a pretty good season. Zendaya, I think she was great in this series. I think the character of Jules was interesting. Cassie, all the side characters. I love that story. And look, even the fat girl, I don't know what her name is. A lot of you guys are probably going to call me fat phobic. Dude, I'm fat myself. I kind of relate to, besides the sex worker part, I relate to her with fat acceptance because I'm a fat person myself. Look at this massive double chin right here. I'm a fat person, and I've struggled for years in my lifetime about being fat. So I do like that story, and I like a lot of stories in Euphoria, but I've decided I'm not watching the show anymore. It's a big waste of my time. But before I start off with the rest of the review, I do want to ask you guys to please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the notification bells. That way you can be notified future content on the channel. My name is Isaac. I'm the host of your Multiverse of Movies, where every night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we go live in our podcast to talk about movies, movie news, and everything. And tonight, we're probably talking about Peacemaker. But yeah, that's going to be it for that. So, Euphoria episode 4 dropped. I don't remember how many episodes there's going to be. I'm going to assume there's like 8 episodes. So, this is probably a halfway mark. I'm every Sunday from now on, I'm not going to be watching Euphoria. And some of you guys are probably thinking, what happened? Look, I like season 1. I think season 1 was pretty good. Do I think it's Emmy level, great? No. It's not the best show I've seen. I'd even argue that season 1 of Riverdale is much better, although Riverdale is much more stupid. Like, at least Euphoria feels somewhat realistic, while Riverdale is just like, nah, we're giving up. We're doing superhero stuff now. At least Euphoria is grounded. Because when I know a lot of people complain that Euphoria is too unrealistic. I guarantee you a lot of that stuff is realistic. As someone who went to high school just 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I don't even remember, but just 3 years ago, I can tell you a lot of the stuff that happens in Euphoria does happen in real life. But that's not the problem. So when season 2 was first announced, a lot of Euphoria fans were excited because it looked much darker. It looked like it was going to be a much darker story, when in reality, all they did was turn off the LED lights. Like, to be honest, all they did was turn off the LED lights. But the show, I do think, has taken a massive decline. A lot of people are talking about behind the scenes issues. I'm not here to talk about that because honestly, I don't even know if it's real or not. I would have to do some research on it. But one thing I'm not liking about Euphoria season 2 is it feels like the creators, the writers, and the staff, everyone working on this, it's like they look at what made the first season so successful. And one of the reasons was, how it looked, the beautiful cinematography, the visuals, everything looks stunning. And look, season 1 looks stunning. And even this season looks stunning. But one of my complaints of the first season, and you can go watch my review last year that I did on the first season, was there are some scenes in the show that they want to go too much over style, but they forget to tell you the story. And so what you're happening to do is you're just watching all these colors, watching how the camera moves. And while it's stunning, and don't get me wrong, as somebody who appreciates cinematography, I love how beautiful it looks. I love how stunning it looks. But as somebody who appreciates that, I also appreciate when you're able to use that for your story, your plot, and everything. And there are too many scenes in Euphoria that drag on, trying to show you how beautiful everything is shot. And And season 2 has taken that up a notch. And in the first episode, which I actually like the first episode of Euphoria season 2, there's a scene where Rue and Jules are about to kiss. And, scenes that of people who are about to kiss typically take, like, 30 seconds, 40 seconds at most. And it probably is that time, but the thing is, they're cutting back so much that you see, like, black, then black out, black out, black out. Then you go back to Jules, then you go back to Rue, you go back to Jules, you go back to Rue, black out, black out, black out. And it's like this shot that could have taken 30 seconds because we would have gone the same exact message. Instead, we're waiting like 5 freaking minutes to wait for a kiss scene. I remember when I was watching that scene, I'm like, come on, man. Like, come on. We ain't got that much time, bruh. And I'm watching the episode and I'm thinking to myself, there are too many scenes where they drag on. It's like you do realize you could do this scene within 5 minutes, give us the same exact momentum, the exact same feeling that you were trying to give us, but you could have done that in a shorter time. And that's something filmmakers do need to learn. Even Zack Snyder, one of my favorite filmmakers, when I watch a movie like Watchmen or Army of the Dead, I watch his movies and I'm like, come on, you got to cut out some clips. And I know it's difficult for the director to cut out their clips because it's like killing a baby. It's to them, it's hard. To them, it's like they work so hard on the shot. And to take it away, it's pretty difficult. But still, you have to service the narrative. And that's something Euphoria feels like it doesn't do. Also, another thing that they pushed in season 1. Now, to people who haven't seen Euphoria is very graphic. Like, there's a lot of penises. There's a lot of boobs. There's a lot of penises. There's a lot of underage drinking. There's a lot of sex. There's a lot of this. There's a lot of that. There's so much of that. There's a lot of that. And in season 1, I like how they balanced it. There were moments where I'm like, all right, come on. There's this line of edginess. I'm not saying that you can't be graphic. I mean, I love James Gunn. James Gunn in Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, he's clearly being very graphic. But there's also a borderline where there's edgy and you got to be back there. And Euphoria was kind of almost tipping that. In Euphoria, I actually understand why they got to show you that, because they're trying to show you the feeling, that this isn't, this is a pretty bad thing. And obviously it is a bad thing. But one thing that the series is doing in season 2 is there's a lot of scenes where they're doing it, but it doesn't service the plot. And it kind of feels like the directors, the showrunner, or anyone, it feels like they're really trying to hit you with the bat over what's going on. Like, there's a scene in the last episode, which I still think episode 4 is the worst episode in Euphoria history, of season 2, or in general, really. But it's season 2, episode 4, to me, is the episode that completely killed off any hopes I had for the show. There's this scene where the old guy, I don't know what his name is. It doesn't really matter, but he has his penis out. He just has it out. He's peeing in the carpet or near the front door, and he just has the thing out, and it's just there dangling. And the characters just talk about his dangling penis for like 5 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, you could have done this within a minute. You could have just quickly done it, but instead I'm here looking at this man's penis for 5 minutes, and we're just talking about how it's dangling and then that scene. That character, one of the things is he's bi, and he's done a lot of bad things in the past, and I do like how he finally comes out. He's like, hey, you know what? I've done it with guys, and, fine by me. And I like how he's opening up. But that scene dragged. It was literally 10 minutes of him saying a homophobic slur, and saying he's this, he's that, and he's done this, he's done that. And I'm like, you do realize we've seen that. You don't got to tell us. You could have just summed it up within a minute. But another thing I'm not liking is the characters are unbearably unlikable. The characters are insanely unlikable. Rue. And a lot of people are going to say, well, you're supposed to not like them because these are not, these people are struggling, And I love the story of Rue. To me, Rue's story is the best one because, in the first season, she's recovering because she had an overdose. While in season 2, it seems like she's going back on that path. Jules is now back in town. You see a lot of things in the back. Cassie is trying to date the tall athlete guy. who so far I'm surprised, but the tall athlete guy has had the most interesting story so far. I'm watching the show, and literally almost every character comes off as unlikable. In the first season, it wasn't like that. Cassie. Cassie has become unbearably annoying. I get what the story's trying to do. And look, I want Cassie to end up with the tall guy. It seems like they're perfect for each other. But the show is making these characters unlikable. And I know a lot of people are going to tell me, these characters are supposed to be unlikable. These aren't, they're not perfect people. And they're trying to send us a message about society. And that is true. That is true. But every story, when you have a protagonist, you gotta get us invested in their story. Let's look at the Joker movie, for example. The Joker is a literal psychopath who has murdered people. He's murdered people. But yet the movie itself gets you to like the character. In Avengers Infinity War, Thanos is a genocidal maniac with the plan of committing the biggest genocide in the galaxy's history, wiping out half of all life in the galaxy. But yet you feel invested in the character, his story, his motivation, and everything. But in Euphoria, you see these characters, and they're so unlikable to the point where when I'm watching an episode, I'm like, dude, I don't care. I wanna watch something else. I want to either rewatch Game of Thrones, maybe watch some Seinfeld, maybe even watch How I Met Your Father, maybe even watch a Peacemaker, Book of Boba Fett. I don't know. There's something that's got to be better than this BS, because that's what the show has done. They have these characters who I liked at some point. I liked them in season 1, but in season 2, it feels like all of them have leveled up this feeling of unlikableness, and I've told this to people, and they keep telling me, oh, but they're supposed to be unlikable. But again, like I use the example, you can have bad characters still be likable. Heath Ledger's Joker, let's use him from The Dark Knight. He's literally a maniac who murders people with a knife, and yet you're interested in his character. You're still wondering what the heck is this character? What is he doing? What are his motivations? All this, all that. Peacemaker. Let me use Peacemaker as an example from Suicide Squad. He's literal a bloodbath serial killer who was willing to kill women and children for peace, and yet you still enjoy his character. And in Euphoria, the characters are so unlikable that I just can't stand it. In episode 4, I know I've rarely even talked about episode 4. To me, episode 4 was the pinnacle of me finding these characters unlikable, and the whole three-way romance between Rue, Jules, and the blonde curly-headed kid. I'm sorry, but I don't. It's so weird because they all have an attraction for each other, which is cool. But the guy. There's this scene in episode 4 where the guy walks into his room because he hangs out with Rue and Jules in his room, and Rue makes out with him. But just 2 seconds after, he's kissing Jules' stomach, like he's like kind of, and then they're doing the motion of what it's like to eat. I'm not even going to say what it is because I'll get demonetized, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And while I know a lot of people complain that Euphoria isn't realistic. I mean, I think it's realistic to an extent, but the scenes with him, Rue, and Jules are some of the most unrealistic BS I've ever seen. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but a lot of it is pretty stupid because Jules doesn't like that Rue's attracted to this guy whose name I can't remember, but at the same time proceeds to be butt naked in front of him after taking a shower, and also having him lick his stomach, making out with him, almost having intercourse with him. And Jules' character, I already didn't like her ending in season 1. She moves away, but although I understand it for the story, her character in season 2 is coming off as a spoiled brat in a way. And I do like how they're bringing back her story of distrusting people. I think that's interesting, but you're making her unlikable. Same thing with Rue. Rue, she's recovering, but now she's treating everyone like trash, and I like the story of addicts, but to me, if you can't make your character at least me wanting to invest on their story, then you're not doing what a good director or writer does. And I know there's a lot of behind the scenes drama about the director had an argument with the fat girl. I don't know her name, by the way. I don't know the actress's name nor the character's name. But I liked your story in season 1. There was like a lot of back and forth. I honestly can't tell you if that's true or not. I'm somebody who believes that a filmmaker's vision should always be the main vision because he's the filmmaker. That's his job. And if an actress doesn't want to do that, then they can move away from the project. But I've heard some behind the scenes drama. A lot of people are saying that, oh, that's the reason why this season is not as good as the first one. I doubt it. I doubt it. First of all, I don't even know if that's true. I don't know. I should probably do some research after I'm done recording this. But I mean, even if you take away all her scenes, you can still give me a good story with the other characters, because it's not like Euphoria depends on one character. Euphoria has multiple characters that you can go on. I mean, Fez. I'll say this right now, Fez. I think he's been my favorite character, but the actor for him, I don't know what it is. I actually heard what his real voice sounds like, and that is kind of what he actually sounds like. But there are so many line deliveries in the show where Fez feels like he's trying way too hard to act. And I don't want to be in a butthole, but I did like the first episode, how they introduced his story about how he grew up, with his grandma, and how she was this cool grandma who, she was just cool. But yeah, I've given up on Euphoria. To me, it's... Well, one thing that already made me uncomfortable, and I'm going to say this is how I'm going to finish off today's video. One thing that already made me uncomfortable in season 1 was these are teenagers. Now, the actors are 25, 26, they're around that age. They're much older than teenagers. In fact, they're older than me. I'm only 20 years old. This is a high school show, and they constantly keep showing underage drinking, sex, a lot of I'm not going to say the P word, but you guys know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of that in a high school show. And this isn't a criticism to the show, by the way. This is just my personal bias. I know I was just in high school 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I know a lot of teenagers in high school love to underage drink, love to... Obviously, when you're a teenager, you just want to do intercourse. It's obvious. That happens. But this show really sexualizes a lot of that. And I'm not saying that you guys should stop watching. What I'm saying is, to me, as somebody who's 20 years old, I feel uncomfortable having this perspective that they're teenagers, but yet we're seeing them do all this. And I get it. Because look, a lot of people are saying it's unrealistic. A lot of the stuff that happens in Euphoria, I personally know that does really happen in real high school, because I've met high schoolers. I was literally a high schooler 2 years ago, and I can tell you a lot of this does happen. I don't know what previous generations were like, but this generation has kind of a effed up high school mentality. Although, high schoolers have always wanted to drink and do intercourse. I mean, that's not something that's new. Come on, let's be honest. You go meet a 50-year-old and they'll tell you how in high school they wanted to do all that. But I will say I feel a little uncomfortable seeing teenagers do all this stuff. And again, I know the actors are obviously not teenagers. But when you're telling me a story of teenagers and I'm seeing all this, I'm going to feel uncomfortable. Even if they are older than me. Zendaya's older than me. She's like 24, 23, and I'm 20. I mean, I remember I was a kid when I was watching Shake It Up. And Zendaya was like a teenager in that show, I think. I don't know. And I'm sorry, but it's just... Season 1 pushed it. Season 2 is now hitting you over the head with it. And this isn't me telling you shouldn't watch the show. I'm just telling you my perspective. I've given up on Euphoria. I know, because the reason why I even began watching Euphoria is because I had a friend of mine tell me, it's a really good show. And I'm glad that she got me introduced to the show. But I've given up. I'm not going to watch it. The only way I'll watch it is if episode 5 or the last few episodes of season 2 happen to be the greatest episodes in television history. Then I'll watch it. But episode 4 is the moment where I've stepped down. I'm not keeping up with the show anymore. So let's say season 3 comes out. You won't see me talking about it. You won't see me making videos about it. I've given up, and that's just my perspective. I hope you guys can respect that. And again, let me know in the comment sections. Do you agree with what I had to say? Because I honestly, this is just my perspective. And of course, I can be wrong, but I've given up. And that's all I can say. But anyways, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to my members, or my associate producers, BK Dan, Pedro Bonilla, Rhea, Jedi Sith Master, and Cobra Kai Never Dies. Thank you guys for being members and supporting the channel financially. Thank you guys for watching today's video. If you want to join the membership program, it is only 99 cents a month, and you're entered in a Funko Pop giveaway for the Batman Funko Pop. And you're getting a shout out at the end of every one of my videos, and you support this independent channel, by the way, financially. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.